Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Waiting Room, the show that challenges you to thrive and not just survive in every area of your life. This is your host, Ruem, and in this podcast, I'll be talking about the realities of waiting in every season of life. How we wait is more important than the wait itself, so waiting well is what matters. In today's episode, I'll be talking about minding our manners. So I have a theory, and my theory is that common sense, common courtesy, ladylike, and chivalry were marooned on some island and nobody knows where they are just by the state of the society right now. I don't know what is going on, and it could be because we're so relationally detached that people don't know how to behave or how to treat other people, but it is just alarming sometimes just how we don't have manners. And this episode is a little bit different from what I've done in the past, but I had a couple encounters in the last few weeks that made me realize, you know what, it would be a fun episode to talk about just different scenarios or different rules of etiquette. You know, common sense and common courtesy are just not common anymore. So I'm going to help some of you out there who might be socially challenged. So I hope you find this episode helpful. You're welcome. So you don't have to be a royal or a socialite or elite to have good manners. So I put together a list of 20 things every decent human being, male or female, should know. All right. So number 1, saying please to everyone, whether it's a friend or family, regardless of how big or small the task is. Please goes a long way. It shows that you're not entitled and you don't feel like the whole world is just there to serve you, but say please. Number 2, thank you once again to everybody, friends, family, even the youngest member of the family can still get a please and thank you. And that's how they learn to use those manners when they grow up as well. Now, I feel like we don't say thank you enough, whether it's somebody opening the door or letting you borrow their car, we should at least say thank you, regardless of whether we know them or they're strangers. Number 3, saying excuse me. This is if you're passing between people. This is if you're interrupting a conversation, or if you didn't quite hear what the person said. Excuse me is the appropriate thing to say in those circumstances. Number 4, asking permission. If it is not yours, don't just use it or take it or borrow it without asking. That's also stealing, but we'll talk about that another time. And if you do ask for permission and you get a no, then go with it. Don't whine or throw a fit. Okay, so no means no. Just because you ask doesn't always mean you're going to get what you asked for. Number 5, paying a compliment. It is okay to give compliments, people. We live in a world where we're always down on ourselves and down on each other. Make somebody's day. Tell them something nice, you look lovely today, or that's a nice thing you said, or that color brings out whatever. Pay a compliment. Don't exaggerate or flatter, because that's insincere and people can pick up on that. If it's not true, then don't compliment something that's not true either. Number 6, accepting a compliment. Now, I think for ladies, we are not so good at this, but if somebody compliments you, just say thank you. You don't have to explain or defend or diminish that compliment. Just smile, say thank you, and keep going. Now, a compliment is just that, a compliment. So they're not asking you for a date or a proposal. Okay, so this is for some of my single folks out there. I'm trying to help you out. Just say thank you and keep going, and don't give it more thought. Number 7, making an apology. Apologies need to be sincere. They need to be clear about what you're apologizing for and not just vague. Of course, you want to avoid self-deprecating compliments like, oh, I'm the worst human being ever. Like, okay, grow up. No, you just made a mistake and we're trying to correct that. And also don't blame or point fingers. So don't say, I'm sorry, but then that totally negates the whole apology. Number 8, accepting an apology. So acknowledge what the person is saying. Say thank you for apologizing. Forgive them because you have also done and said stupid things. So I'm sure you would want people to forgive you. Now, it's not like you have to hug and be best friends or ignore what just happened, but you can still acknowledge that they're apologizing and thank them for taking the time to recognize what they did and that they're trying to make it right. Number 9, winning and losing. So I am pretty competitive. I don't like to lose, but then I'm also dramatic sometimes, and then I just exaggerate how I don't like to lose. But if you are legitimately competing, you're going to win some and you're going to lose some. So winning well is important. You don't want to gloat because your day of losing is coming. Also, if you lose, it's not the end of the world. Learn from the mistake and keep going, and don't beat yourself up about it, or don't blame, or don't point fingers. So winning well and losing well are important. Number 10, borrowing items. So, sometimes borrowing is better than having to buy or rent because it's convenient, but it is important that you return the item promptly. Don't hold on to it for months or years because that person might want it back and might need to use that item. And they shouldn't have to keep asking for something that belongs to them. And return it in the same condition that you borrowed it in. That means if you broke it or damaged it, you will need to replace it with a new item. And something like borrowing a car, when you return it, wash it and fill it up with gas. Little things like that make a big difference. Number 11, writing thank you notes. This kind of goes hand in hand with saying thank you. I went over that earlier. But if it's a more professional setting, so maybe it was a job interview, or you got invited to an event, or you received gifts from a party or shower, anything like that, thank you notes are appreciated. So let everybody know how much that gift they gave to you means to them, or how much you appreciate them considering you for that position. Okay, or send an email. So this day and age, email thank you notes, they go hand in hand. Number 12, expressing sympathy. And so if somebody loses a loved one, you cannot ignore that and just talk to them as if nothing happened. So let that be the first thing that you address the next time you see them in person. Get it out of the way, express your condolences. And if you don't know what to say, sometimes you can do something. Send them flowers, or make them a meal, or help them with an errand, or whatever. But at least acknowledge the fact that somebody they love is no longer in their lives and you're there to support them. Number 13, personal hygiene and personal grooming. We need to brush our teeth and bathe our bodies on a regular basis, preferably every day, but I'm not going to judge anybody. Make sure that your breath and your body odors are not offending people. And also, grooming is important, but you want to keep your grooming to a private setting, so you shouldn't be grooming yourself in public, like clipping your toenails and things like that. And scents, I'm going to talk about fragrances. Be sure that you're not overdoing it with the perfumes and the colognes. Some people have sensitivities and allergies, and that can trigger asthma if it's a strong scent. So you want to be considerate of others. Yes, you want to smell nice, but there is a line there. Don't go overboard. Number 14, cell phone usage. No one wants to hear your conversations. Take them outside if you're in a room full of people. or at least excuse yourself if you cannot get to a more secluded space. No phones at the dinner table. Give the people you're around your 100% attention. Your phone can wait. You're not that important. I'm sure even CEOs of companies don't have their phones on them like 24/7. There's a term I learned recently called phubbing. This is if you are snubbing people with your phone. So that might put some people off if they're talking to you, but you're constantly on your phone. And especially with the conversations, it's just rude to be at the dinner table or in a room and you're having a phone conversation that everybody else can hear. Number 15, dining in a restaurant. Now, a lot of people eat out, but not everybody always uses the correct manners. Don't order what you don't know and then complain when you don't like it. At least ask questions, ask the server what is in the dish, how it's made, before you actually make the final order. So if you don't know what tartare is, don't order because it sounds fancy, because you're going to be surprised. And please and thank you go a long way. The servers are human and they're not your servants. They're not beneath you. So talking to them like you would a friend who's doing you a favor would be polite. All right, leave a tip. If you're in the US, 15 to 20% tip is acceptable. If you're outside of the US, most countries don't leave tips, but at least treat the server nicely, compliment them on their job. If you are a guest, if somebody's taking you out, order at or below the host price range. So if they order a $20 dish, you need to order at most $20 or less. Don't order that $30 dish. Okay, so save that for when you go out by yourself, because I'm sure people do notice, and you probably won't get dinner invites very often if you are consistently going overboard. Number 16, if you have food allergies and food dislikes, you still want to be polite. You don't have to be rude and make faces or make it such a big deal. You're not 6 years old. You can politely turn down food and explain, I'm allergic to shellfish. I cannot eat that dish. Don't make a big deal about what you can't eat or what you don't like when you have a lot of options available to you, and just eat what you like and what you're not allergic to. Doesn't have to be fussy. Number 17, being a dinner guest in somebody's home. So you always want to bring a dish, especially if they're going to be feeding you. It's nice to contribute to the event, compliment the food and the chef, because a lot of effort went into putting the meal together. So just letting them know how much you appreciate it goes a long way. Don't be a glutton. It isn't an all-you-can-eat buffet, so have some self-control, have some self-restraint, because guess what? People do notice, and they're going to be talking about you when you leave, maybe. And once again, if you have any allergies or any food aversions, don't diss their dish. Number 18, being a house guest. So if you're staying with somebody for several days, it is polite to bring a gift just to say thank you. Try to follow your host's routine, so don't sleep in super late or wake up too early and wake up the rest of the household. So just try to adapt to their normal routine. Offer help with the chores or with cleaning, cooking, etc. You want to leave them with a good taste in their mouths, so they would be more than willing to have you as a guest in their home again. Oh, and don't touch the thermostat if you are a guest. You can ask them to change the temperature, but don't take it upon yourself, because that doesn't bode well for most hosts. They don't appreciate that. Just throwing that out there. Number 19, helping others. Always look for an opportunity to make somebody's day. Help them open the door or get their groceries from the cart to the car, or just be on the lookout, because there's always a need around us. And if you take your eyes off yourself, you'll be able to see, a whole world of people that needs help and that's hurting and that just needs somebody to, like I said, make their day. Number 20, lastly, is boundaries. Having healthy boundaries is so important. You want to make sure you respect other people's boundaries. Of course, knock before you enter, ask for permission, and just be okay with getting a no. So if the other person doesn't need help or doesn't want you to go past a certain boundary, that's completely fine as well. So just as you would like people to respect your boundaries, it's important that we respect other people's as well. So I can't have an episode where I don't drop a scripture, but even the Bible tells us to do unto others as we would have them do unto us. Okay, so treat others how you would want to be treated. And I know I could have kept going. There are a lot more other areas in life where I feel like people don't quite know how to behave or what to do in those situations. So I might do a part 2 down the road, but I'd love to hear what you have to say. And a lot of this I learned just from growing up. I'm very thankful for a wonderful mother who taught me manners and who taught me self-awareness. And I think emotional intelligence can be taught and things like that, but she always told us that charity begins at home. So if you are not polite or kind or courteous at home, you're not gonna be those things outside of the house. So start practicing that if you are not already. I challenge you to just be more aware of the moment you're in whenever you're around people. Your please and thank yous, and show people how much you appreciate them, and just be kind. Because like I said, we live in a world that's hurting and people are always on edge or angry. So saying a kind word might make somebody's day. So today I would recommend you to read The Etiquette Book by Emily Post. I can't have a whole episode on manners and not bring up Emily Post, but I would say she's the epitome of manners, modern day manners in polite society. So you can click on the link in the description to get one of her books, and they've been revised time and time again, but I definitely recommend them if you want to polish up on your social habits. And that is it for today's episode, folks. Thank you so much for joining me here in the waiting room. Look out for my next episode. In the meantime, please share this podcast with a friend. And I'd love to hear what you have to say about manners, your experiences. Have you always had good manners, or who taught you the manners that you have, or is this something that you need to work on? So you can email me at thewaitingroom@gmail.com, or you can message me on Instagram at thewaitingroom. Until then, take care.